Millions of Americans are heading into 2026 unaware that Social Security rules quietly allow some spouses, divorced spouses, and widows to collect hundreds or even thousands more every month, and the biggest risk right now is assuming you already know what you qualify for. This matters because misunderstanding one rule, one age requirement, or one filing step can permanently cost you money you earned. Stay with me, because this update could change how much income your household receives for the rest of your life. If you're interested in this topic, hit the like button, subscribe, and type "interested" in the comments. And I will give you a heart. What is happening in 2026 with Social Security spouse benefits is not a new law, not a bonus program, and not a temporary relief measure, but a growing realization that millions of Americans are misunderstanding how long-standing rules actually work and as a result are permanently leaving money unclaimed. Why this matters right now is that Social Security benefits are locked in by timing and filing decisions, and once certain windows pass, that money is gone forever. The biggest risk people face is not denial by Social Security but silence, assuming they already know the rules when in reality the rules changed years ago and many people never updated their understanding. Spouse benefits apply far more broadly than most people think, and they are not limited to happily married couples living under the same roof. They include current spouses, divorced spouses, independently entitled divorced spouses, and surviving spouses, each with different eligibility requirements, benefit percentages, and filing strategies. The most common mistake people make is assuming spouse benefits are automatic or assuming Social Security will notify them if they qualify. That does not happen. Social Security pays benefits only when someone applies correctly under the right category, and if the wrong category is chosen or the wrong numbers are compared, the answer may come back as no even when the correct answer should be yes. For currently married spouses, the rule sounds simple but is widely misunderstood. To receive spouse benefits, you must file for benefits on your own work record first. There is no longer an option to file only for spousal benefits while letting your own benefit grow, as those strategies were eliminated after 2016. Once you file on your own record, Social Security compares your benefit amount to half of your spouse's primary insurance amount, not their current monthly check. This distinction is critical. The primary insurance amount is what your spouse would receive at full retirement age, regardless of when they actually filed. Many people incorrectly compare their $1,200 check to their spouse's $3,000 check and assume eligibility, only to be told no because Social Security is using different numbers entirely. Why this matters is that using the wrong comparison leads people to stop asking questions prematurely. The risk to avoid is relying on casual math instead of official figures. If your benefit at full retirement age is less than half of your spouse's primary insurance amount, Social Security will pay you your own benefit plus a spousal top-up to bring you to that halfway point. You do not receive two checks and you do not receive a full half on top of your own benefit. The spousal portion simply fills the gap. Another critical factor is timing. To receive the full 50% spousal benefit, you must wait until your own full retirement age. Filing earlier permanently reduces the spousal portion just like it reduces retirement benefits. Many people rush to file at 62 without realizing they are locking in a reduced spousal benefit for life. The risk to avoid is early filing without understanding the trade-off. Now, divorced spouse benefits operate under similar principles but introduce additional requirements that confuse people and lead to misinformation. To qualify for divorced spouse benefits, you must have been married to that person for at least 10 years. This requirement is strict with one narrow exception. If you were married, divorced, and then remarried the same person within the following calendar year, Social Security may combine the marriage periods to reach 10 years. Many Social Security representatives are unfamiliar with this exception, which means beneficiaries must sometimes advocate for themselves. The risk to avoid is accepting an initial no without asking for clarification or escalation. Another major misconception is that divorced spouse benefits require cooperation or consent from the ex-spouse. They do not. Your ex-spouse will not be notified, their benefits will not be reduced, and their current spouse or children will not be affected. Social Security treats each benefit independently. This matters because many people avoid filing out of guilt or fear of conflict, costing themselves thousands of dollars over time. Even more important is the rule governing independently entitled divorced spouse benefits. This is one of the least understood but most financially impactful provisions in Social Security. Under this rule, your ex-spouse does not have to be collecting benefits for you to collect on their record. They only need to be at least 62 years old, and the divorce must have been final for at least 2 years. This means you could be receiving benefits on your ex's record while they are still working and delaying their own benefits. Many people are wrongly told they must wait until their ex files, and that misinformation costs them months or years of benefits. The risk to avoid is believing incorrect guidance without verifying eligibility criteria. Protective filing becomes crucial here. By contacting Social Security and stating your intent to file for benefits, you establish a filing date even if your appointment occurs weeks or months later. That filing date protects your benefits retroactively. Waiting until all documents are gathered before calling can result in lost back pay. The same logic applies to surviving spouse benefits, where the rules shift dramatically and the stakes are even higher. If you were married at the time of your spouse's death, you generally only need to have been married for 9 months, not 10 years. There are exceptions to even this requirement in cases of accidental death or military service. Surviving spouse benefits can pay up to 100% of the deceased spouse's primary insurance amount if claimed at full retirement age. Claiming earlier reduces the amount, but the earliest age to claim is 60 or 50 if you are disabled. Many people wait until 62 because they assume survivor benefits follow retirement rules, and that misunderstanding alone can cost 2 full years of benefits. The risk to avoid is assuming all Social Security benefits start at the same age. Surviving spouse benefits also allow strategic sequencing. You may claim one type of benefit first and switch later. For example, you could claim survivor benefits at 60 and let your own retirement benefit grow until age 70, or claim your own benefit early and switch to survivor benefits later. Social Security does not automatically optimize this for you. You must ask and apply correctly. Another overlooked issue is how Social Security calculates eligibility when benefits are close. If your benefit is slightly higher than half of your spouse's primary insurance amount, you may not qualify today, but that can change. Your spouse's benefit could increase if they continue working, or eligibility could change if the spouse passes away, converting potential spousal benefits into survivor benefits. The risk to avoid is assuming ineligibility is permanent. Periodic rechecks are essential. Many people do not realize they can call Social Security every 6 to 12 months to verify eligibility changes. This is especially important for divorced spouses who may not know whether an ex-spouse has passed away. Social Security will not notify you proactively. You must ask. This entire system relies on informed action. Social Security does not audit households for missed benefits. It responds only to applications and inquiries. The largest financial losses occur not from denial but from delay, misunderstanding, and silence. In 2026, with rising living costs and increased financial pressure, spouse benefits represent one of the most powerful but underused tools available to retirees and widows, particularly women who historically earned less over their working lives. Understanding these rules is not optional if financial security matters. It is the difference between assuming the check you receive is all there is and discovering there is more that you are legally entitled to receive for the rest of your life. What makes spouse and survivor benefits especially dangerous to misunderstand in 2026 is not just the complexity of the rules but how Social Security actually enforces them, because the system does not correct mistakes unless someone actively challenges them, and incorrect answers are increasingly common as staffing shortages and automation expand. Why this matters is that many people now rely on one phone call or one online estimate and assume the result is final, when in reality the answer may be incomplete or wrong depending on how the question was framed. The risk to avoid is trusting a surface-level response without understanding the structure behind it. Social Security representatives answer questions based on how benefits are requested, not on what may be optimal for the caller. If someone asks, "Am I eligible for spousal benefits?" the answer might be no, but if they ask, "Am I eligible for independently entitled divorced spouse benefits based on my ex's primary insurance amount?" the answer could be yes. The wording changes the outcome. That is why clarity matters more than ever. Another critical issue in 2026 is how reductions and offsets are applied, because many people incorrectly believe spousal or survivor benefits replace their own benefit entirely. In reality, Social Security always pays your own benefit first, then layers any additional benefit on top if applicable. This matters because reductions apply differently to each component. If you file early, both your own benefit and the spousal or survivor portion may be reduced, and those reductions are permanent. The risk to avoid is filing early without running the full numbers across all benefit types. One of the most overlooked traps involves remarriage. For current spouse benefits, remarriage obviously does not apply, but for divorced spouse benefits, remarriage before age 60 generally disqualifies you from collecting on a former spouse's record unless the later marriage ends. For survivor benefits, remarriage after age 60 does not disqualify you. This distinction is critical and frequently misunderstood. Many widows delay or avoid remarriage because they fear losing survivor benefits, even though the rules would allow them to keep those benefits if remarriage occurs after age 60. The financial and emotional consequences of that misunderstanding can be profound. Another area of confusion involves earnings limits. For anyone under full retirement age, earnings limits still apply to spousal and survivor benefits just as they do to retirement benefits. If you earn over the annual limit, Social Security may withhold benefits temporarily. This does not mean the money is lost forever, but it does affect cash flow. The risk to avoid is assuming spouse or survivor benefits are exempt from earnings rules. They are not. However, once full retirement age is reached, earnings limits disappear, and benefits are recalculated to account for amounts previously withheld. Many people are unaware of this recalculation and assume withheld benefits are gone permanently. Understanding this can reduce fear around working longer or taking part-time employment. Another growing issue in 2026 is overpayment recovery tied to spousal and survivor benefits. If Social Security later determines that a beneficiary was paid incorrectly due to timing, remarriage status, or reporting delays, it can withhold future benefits to recover the overpayment. This is especially common in survivor benefit cases where marital status changes or earnings were not reported promptly. The risk to avoid is failing to report life changes immediately. Even small delays can trigger large repayment demands later. Technology changes at Social Security also affect spouse benefits more than many realize. The agency is shifting aggressively toward online processing, automated eligibility checks, and centralized case handling. While this speeds up some claims, it also increases the chance that edge cases are mishandled. Complex situations like multiple marriages, overlapping benefit eligibility, and independently entitled divorced spouse claims are precisely where automation struggles. The risk to avoid is assuming the system will flag complexity on its own. It will not. Beneficiaries must explicitly state their eligibility category and request review. Documentation also plays a larger role than ever. Marriage certificates, divorce decrees, death certificates, and proof of age must be provided, and delays in submitting these documents can delay payments even after eligibility is confirmed. This is where protective filing becomes critical again. Establishing a filing date protects benefits while documentation is gathered. Many people lose months of payments simply because they waited to file until paperwork was complete. Another misunderstood aspect is coordination between survivor benefits and retirement benefits over time. Social Security allows switching between benefit types, but only if applications are structured correctly. Claiming one benefit too early without specifying intent can block future switches. For example, filing for retirement benefits early may prevent later access to full survivor benefits depending on timing and age. The risk to avoid is assuming benefits automatically convert to the highest amount. They do not unless properly requested. Women are disproportionately affected by these rules because they are more likely to be lower earners, to outlive spouses, and to experience divorce later in life. That makes spousal and survivor benefits not just supplemental but foundational to long-term financial stability. Yet women are also more likely to receive incomplete or incorrect advice, particularly when interacting with overburdened Social Security offices. Understanding the structure of benefits is therefore not a luxury but a necessity. Another important factor in 2026 is taxation. Spousal and survivor benefits are subject to the same federal taxation rules as other Social Security benefits depending on combined income. Many people are surprised to learn that additional spousal benefits can push them into taxable territory, reducing net gains. This does not mean benefits are not worth claiming, but it does mean planning matters. The risk to avoid is assuming gross benefit increases equal net income increases. Medicare premiums also interact with benefit increases. Higher benefits can trigger higher income-related Medicare adjustments for some beneficiaries, particularly higher-income survivors. Understanding these interactions helps avoid shock when net deposits do not rise as expected. Another overlooked issue is retroactivity. Spousal and survivor benefits can sometimes be paid retroactively for a limited period depending on when the application is filed. However, retroactivity rules differ by benefit type. Survivor benefits may allow limited retroactive payments, while spousal benefits generally do not beyond the filing date. The risk to avoid is delaying application in hopes of receiving back pay later. That strategy often fails. The safest approach is early inquiry and protective filing. In 2026, with Social Security staffing stretched thin and policy complexity increasing, the biggest advantage beneficiaries can have is preparation. Knowing which benefit category applies, knowing which numbers matter, and knowing when to file can mean the difference between stability and struggle. Social Security spouse benefits are not hidden, but they are buried beneath assumptions, outdated advice, and incomplete explanations. Those who take the time to understand the system gain not just money but control. And control, especially in retirement or widowhood, is what turns Social Security from a source of anxiety into a reliable foundation. As we bring this all together, the most important thing to understand about Social Security spouse, divorced spouse, and survivor benefits in 2026 is that the system does not reward assumptions, and it does not protect people from silence. Because Social Security only pays what is claimed, when it is claimed, and how it is claimed. This matters because millions of Americans assume the agency will automatically give them the highest benefit available, when in reality Social Security pays strictly based on the application path taken. The risk to avoid is waiting for the system to do the right thing on its own. It will not. Every category we discussed exists because Congress recognized that family structures change, careers differ, and life does not move in straight lines, but the burden of understanding those protections falls on the individual. Another reality in 2026 is that Social Security is under unprecedented operational pressure. With staffing levels near historic lows and a growing beneficiary population, the agency relies more heavily on automated systems and call center scripts. This increases efficiency but decreases nuance. Complex cases are not flagged automatically for deeper review. That means if a person qualifies for independently entitled divorced spouse benefits, or for a survivor strategy that involves switching benefits later, that eligibility will not be surfaced unless the beneficiary explicitly asks. The risk to avoid is assuming complexity works in your favor. Complexity works against you unless you assert it. Timing remains the single most powerful lever in maximizing benefits. Filing too early locks in reductions that last for life. Filing too late without protective filing loses months of payments permanently. Many people delay because they want certainty, but Social Security rewards informed action, not waiting. That is why establishing a protective filing date is one of the most important tools available. It preserves your rights while decisions are clarified. Another key point in 2026 is that benefit optimization is not a one-time decision. Eligibility can change over time as ex-spouses age, pass away, or as your own benefit grows due to delayed retirement credits. Someone who is not eligible for spousal benefits today may become eligible later without realizing it. Someone receiving a smaller benefit may later qualify for a larger survivor benefit. The risk to avoid is assuming a denial today means denial forever. It often does not. Periodic review matters. This is especially true for divorced individuals who are not in regular contact with former spouses. Checking eligibility every 6 to 12 months can prevent years of missed benefits. The emotional component cannot be ignored either. Many people hesitate to claim benefits on an ex-spouse record out of guilt, pride, or fear of conflict. That hesitation is understandable but misplaced. These benefits do not reduce anyone else's check. They do not notify the ex-spouse. They do not affect new families. They exist because the law recognizes shared economic contribution during marriage. The risk to avoid is letting emotion override entitlement. These benefits are not favors. They are earned. For widows and widowers, grief often delays financial decision-making. Many survivors wait years before reviewing benefits, only to discover later that they could have claimed earlier at a higher amount or used a strategy to maximize lifetime income. Survivor benefits are among the most generous Social Security provides, but only when claimed correctly. The risk to avoid is letting shock or uncertainty freeze action. Support exists, but it must be accessed. Another issue that continues to surface in 2026 is misinformation. Online calculators, well-meaning friends, and even some professionals use outdated rules that no longer apply. File and suspend is gone. Restricted applications are mostly gone. Advice from 10 years ago can cost real money today. The risk to avoid is relying on general advice instead of current rules. Social Security is rule-driven, not intuitive. Verification matters. Documentation also deserves emphasis. Missing marriage certificates, divorce decrees, or death certificates can delay benefits for months. Preparing these documents in advance reduces stress during already difficult life transitions. Digital access is increasingly required, and beneficiaries who are not comfortable online should seek help proactively rather than waiting for a crisis. The system assumes digital participation. Planning around that reality is part of modern benefit management. Taxes and Medicare interactions remain part of the equation. Higher benefits may increase taxable income or Medicare premiums for some beneficiaries. That does not negate the value of benefits, but it does require planning. Net income matters more than gross amounts. Understanding how benefits fit into the broader financial picture prevents disappointment and confusion. Overpayment recovery remains a persistent risk. Reporting changes promptly protects against future clawbacks. Social Security rarely forgives overpayments automatically. Appeals exist, but prevention is easier than resolution. The final takeaway is this. Social Security spouse benefits in 2026 are not new, but the environment around them has changed. The system is faster, leaner, and less forgiving of ambiguity. Beneficiaries who understand the rules, ask precise questions, and take timely action are the ones who secure the income they earned. Those who assume, delay, or accept the first answer often leave money behind. Knowledge is no longer optional. It is protection. If this breakdown helped clarify what applies to you or someone you care about, staying informed is not just helpful, it is essential. Rules evolve, interpretations shift, and eligibility can change quietly. The people who stay engaged are the ones who avoid costly mistakes. And that is what this channel exists for, to help you protect your income, your timing, and your long-term security.